They told us digging was the only way to grow food. They told us to flip the soil, break it apart, and start fresh every year. But here's the truth that might shock you. Every time you dig, you're actually breaking the very system that makes your garden thrive. And the real trick to healthier soil, stronger plants, and bigger harvests? It's learning how to step back and let the soil do the work for you. That's the no-till method, and once you understand it, your garden will never be the same again. So today, let's break down what no-till gardening really means, why it works, and the big debate gardeners always face. Should you cover your beds with compost or use plastic mulch to protect them? By the end of this, you'll know exactly which method will transform your space into a powerhouse of growth. Traditional gardening teaches us to till, to turn the soil over and loosen it up. On the surface, it makes sense. Freshly turned soil looks fluffy and inviting. But what you can't see is the damage happening beneath the surface. Tilling destroys the underground networks of fungi, bacteria, and microorganisms that make up the soil food web. This web is the invisible lifeline that keeps your plants nourished, helps them resist disease, and improves water retention. Every time the soil is disturbed, those connections break down. The soil becomes weaker, dries out faster, and requires more fertilizer and irrigation to keep up. Over time, your garden becomes dependent on constant human intervention instead of thriving on its own natural cycles. That's why no-till is more than just not digging. It's about restoring balance and letting your soil's biology rebuild itself. The foundation of no-till gardening starts with protecting and feeding the soil instead of disturbing it. The first step is adding organic matter. Compost is the champion here. It feeds the microorganisms underground, which in turn release nutrients in exactly the right form your plants can absorb. Think of compost as both food and medicine for your soil. To set up a no-till bed, you don't need to remove grass or dig up old soil. Instead, lay down a barrier like cardboard directly on top of your ground. This blocks weeds, smothers grass, and slowly breaks down over time. On top of that, add a thick layer of compost, at least 4 to 6 inches. If you want to boost results, mix in some well-aged manure before topping it off. Water everything thoroughly, about 1 gallon of water per square foot, so the cardboard softens and the compost settles. And just like that, you've built a fertile, no-till garden bed without lifting a shovel. You can start planting right away, or let the bed rest for a few weeks while the underground biology comes to life. When you use compost as your main covering, you're doing more than just feeding plants. You're building a living sponge. Compost improves water retention, meaning your garden can withstand dry spells with ease. It also balances soil pH, provides slow-release nutrients, and increases soil biodiversity. The best part? Compost actually gets better with time. Each season, the soil underneath becomes darker, richer, and more crumbly. That's because earthworms and microbes move into the compost layer, pulling organic matter deeper into the soil and creating a self-sustaining cycle. Now, let's talk about the alternative that many gardeners use: plastic mulch. At first glance, it seems like a dream solution. Plastic mulch suppresses weeds almost completely, warms the soil faster in spring, and keeps moisture from evaporating. That means fewer weeds to fight, earlier planting, and less watering. But here's the catch. While plastic mulch is great for short-term results, it doesn't feed your soil. It blocks organic matter from breaking down naturally and can actually reduce biodiversity underground. Over time, the soil beneath plastic mulch tends to become compacted and lifeless unless you supplement heavily with fertilizers. There's also the practical side. Plastic breaks down in the sun, and replacing it every season creates waste. For commercial farmers, plastic mulch can be a cost-effective way to maximize yield. But for a home gardener who values soil health and long-term sustainability, it's often not the best choice. Here's the honest truth. If you want quick results with minimal labour and don't mind reapplying plastic every year, mulch film can give you that short-term boost. But if your goal is to build a thriving, resilient garden that produces more with less effort every season, compost is the true winner. With compost, you're not just growing plants, you're growing soil. Every season, your beds become more fertile, your plants grow stronger, and your workload gets lighter. You'll find yourself using less water, needing fewer fertilizers, and battling fewer pests. That's because you've created an environment where nature takes care of the hard work for you. Once your bed is established, maintenance is surprisingly simple. Each season, add a fresh 2 to 3 inch layer of compost on top. Don't mix it in, just let it sit like a blanket. Over time, it will break down and feed the soil below. For weed control, mulch heavily with shredded leaves, straw, or even wood chips on top of your compost. This not only suppresses weeds, but also keeps the soil moist and cool. If you want to go a step further, plant cover crops during the off-season. Crops like clover or rye protect the soil, add nutrients, and can be cut down and left in place as organic matter for the next season. And here's the beauty of it. You'll spend less time digging, weeding and watering, and more time actually enjoying your garden. No-till gardening isn't just a technique, it's a mindset. The first year, you'll see results. By the third year, you'll wonder why you ever gardened any other way. By the 5th year, your soil will be so rich and fertile that you'll barely have to touch it to keep producing food. Instead of fighting against nature, you're working with it. The soil becomes a living ecosystem that protects, feeds and sustains itself. And that's when gardening stops being hard labour and starts being pure joy. So, which should you choose? Plastic mulch or compost? If you're thinking long-term, compost is the clear victor. It builds soil health, boosts resilience, and creates a thriving ecosystem that only gets better with time. Plastic might give you a head start, but compost ensures you win the race. If you've been battling weeds, tired soil, or endless back-breaking work in the garden, try no-till. It's simpler, smarter, and infinitely more rewarding. And here's the best part. You don't need expensive tools, you don't need chemicals, and you definitely don't need to dig. Just feed the soil, and the soil will feed you back tenfold. And if you found this guide helpful, make sure to hit subscribe and share this video with a fellow gardener. Here at Timeless Crops Haven, we're building a community that grows smarter, not harder. Your garden deserves it, and so do you.